Welcome back to my studio. This is Colleen with Designs of Value Art. And today we're going to continue to talk about a couple different books that I found on eBay. And this is Flowers in the Landscape by Anne Mortimer. It's a Search Press. It was printed back in 2009 or published for the first time in 2009. Now there's a couple different techniques in here that she does that I really enjoy. And one was kind of interesting, but isn't this lovely? Since 2009, I think things have changed enough that I've looked and looked and could not find a pen that wasn't permanent. And what she does is she does her outline. She does a sketch, her initial sketch. And she does it with a non-permanent black pen. Couldn't find one. So the idea that I came up with, and this is what she says, use a fine-tipped, non-permanent black pen, sketch your flower onto your watercolor paper, wet your brush, and put the tip of the ink to the ink lines. This draws the ink out and you can use it to create tonal areas of the flower, adding shading to your picture. So this is what she's doing here, which is a really good idea. Continue drawing the ink out and giving the flower form and depth. Make sure to leave some of the areas white to represent the highlights. Okay, so what a great idea. So here she's got just the one single flower. Here's her painting that she's going to do. There's quite a few different flowers here, but here she's actually worked out all the different value scales that she's going to need for that flower. So what a unique idea. Well, I looked and looked and I could not find a pen that wasn't permanent. So I'm just gonna I really like this design. I like the glass holding the flowers, or the vase, I should say, the glass vase. I love this design. She's got clematis on a trellis. I think that's one of the best ideas I've seen in a while, so we'll have to do something similar to that. And then, but I want to show you what I came up with to take the place of her pen idea. What I did is I created 4 or 5 different values of the gray scale. And I used this design, Little Magnolia. Thought it was pretty simple with the basic light pink up here that we'll use as white, and the little stem here. So what I did was, with the value scales of gray, is I did a value painting rather than a value sketch. So I got the design on there, and then I did different values so you get different depths of the gray onto your watercolor paper. I didn't get down here as far as the darker values, but I got the darker values in here for you so you could see it. And she's got some other ideas in here too that I really enjoyed. I'm trying to think which one it was. I saw her. It's got to be back further. She does go through how to find your center of interest, how to do your, make your picture larger on a larger scale if you want to. So she's got some really good techniques in here for you to follow. Don't be like me and just page through it and look at the pictures. I found that was a really bad habit. So I went back and I started rereading all my books, but this time I was really reading them and not just thumbing through them. But I really like this idea. Here she's got a couple different, she's got a square door with flowers in front of it. I love the bricks. Here she's got a different style of bricks with a rounded door. And then here she's got a window with flowers in front of it. So lots of really good ideas in this book. That way you're not just doing botanicals constantly. You can do some of these other things, landscapes as well. And this is another book that had some of the same ideas. But what I like about this book, it's called Painting Close Focus Flowers in Watercolor by Ann Pember. And she's a very well-known artist. This was first printed in 2000. Some of her paintings in here are just absolutely gorgeous. But she also, I set up this page so I could show you what she did was a sketch. And here she did a dark value sketch of the painting, glowing rose she calls it. But that's her dark values. And then here is her mid values. So she actually takes it to another step. She does a couple different sketches, which you could very well do with the value scales of the grays on the watercolor. I like doing it in watercolor because it continues your practice of holding your brush, creating values even though it's gray scale, and looking at your project and really seeing your project and where are the values. This is just absolutely stunning. A gorgeous Gloxina, she calls that painting, and it is. It's absolutely gorgeous. Pansies. She's got some really lovely different things in here. Even though this was a whole decade away from the other one, they both had some very similar ideas. Here she goes into creating your value scales with the colors that you plan on using and mingling your colors as you go so you can see how they're going to look, which is another good idea. I think last week it was I gave you a value scale. I did the blue one on camera so you could see me do it. But the more you can do this, the more you're going to be able to do that with your values on your paintings. And one more time, I'm going to say it. If you don't have values in your paintings, you're going to have a flat painting. So it's real important. I don't think I paid more than $5 for each one of these books. But look at the different ideas that I captured out of them and different things that they cover that you don't necessarily see in some of the newer books. The newer books, and back then as well, another value scale here that she did, is going to give you the techniques that are popular right now. But there's no reason that you shouldn't learn these other techniques that are in these older books. These techniques were probably that popular at that point that this book was written. Now here she's showing you how to crop your painting. She's got two beautiful hollyhocks here, and she's cropping the bottom one, so that's going to be her painting, and she enlarges that to take over the whole set of watercolor paper. So yeah, here she's step by step in how she does that. It's the bottom, and most people aren't going to choose the darker of the two hollyhocks. They're going to choose, she calls this Summer Splendor, the lightest. And here she's taking a peony, a white peony, and just choosing a portion of it and how to crop that and create a lovely design with it. So she's got some really good ideas. She adds a lot of color to that peony that was not in the original reference. Let's see what she calls this one when it's completed. Look at how gorgeous those colors are that she's added to that white peony. Oh, went past it. Celebration, she calls it. And it is a celebration of color. So she went from a huge design of all white here, cropped it down, and added a whole bunch of color. And there's nothing wrong in doing that. You'll be able to do that too. You don't have to follow your reference source step by step. I mean, I could have, I can, and I may play around with that, go over the grayscale with some of the pinks and some of the reds, and I could add in some blues and yellows, red, yellow, and blue as a color scheme, and make it really beautiful. So there's a lot of different things that you can capture from these older books. Go out and see what you can find on eBay, or Amazon too has older used books. And for $5, you can find an enormous amount of techniques that you're not necessarily seeing in the newer books. So thank you for coming today. Day after tomorrow I have my surgery, so I may be gone for a couple of weeks. Hopefully I won't. Hopefully it'll go really well and I can come back right away and start adding some new things on. But I'm going to come back just as quickly as I possibly can. Thank you again. Have a great day.